to do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Hey, how are we doing out there all across this great land of ours, this great Republic of the United States of America? How you doing this evening? Exciting day, and we're glad to have you with us. I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and Joe will be out tonight. He is attending a Trump, a debate watch party for us. He might be calling in from that particular event. He's let's say he's just out in the field. Joe is out in the field tonight. He'll be watching the debate, and he may be calling in. I don't know. We'll be off the air by the time the debate starts. The debate starts tonight about an hour after we get off the air. But you can also, if you're just interested, I'll just put this out there for you. I will be partaking in a forum, a round table forum, on one of our affiliates, High Plains Radio. So that will be at 7:30 out here in the West Coast. So that will be 10:30 Eastern and 9:30 if you're in the Central Time Zone. If you want to tune into that, I'll be joining 3 or 4 other people out there, other fellow peers, colleagues, talk show hosts, and we're going to be discussing the debate tonight. But if you go to our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and scroll down, and you'll see the icon there. It says High Plains Radio. If you click on that, it'll take you right to the show, and you'll be able to hear it firsthand. We'll also be on SHR Media. You can just go in and type SHR Media out there in your search engines, and it'll take you to the website also. So we'll be out there along with Dan Butcher from High Plains Radio. That's tonight at 7:30 out here in the West Coast, 10:30 on the East Coast. I know you Eastern people are night owls, and that's probably because a lot of the prime time sporting events and everything get put on the air later in the evening because you got to let all of us Westerners out here get home, get through the traffic and get home. You know, that's how they make their money. So anyway, it's going to be a full night for us here at the Conservative Syndicate. Now, I was on one panel last night. It was this panel with I believe 4 other of my colleagues, and we were talking about the debate that's going to take place tonight. So I may relay a little bit of that to you during the course of the evening today or afternoon, depending on where you're at. Of course, that's the big news. Well, how's this going to turn out? You know, there's signs out there. Been signs all for the better part of 2 weeks, especially all during last week, as to how the Democrats are going to try to sway the moderator into their direction, even if it's not directly looking at Lester Holt and saying, "Oh, we want you to do this or want you to do that." But they've been laying the power of suggestion, which is all you need with liberals, through the media. With the dressing down of Matt Lauer because apparently he wasn't tough enough on Donald Trump. He didn't fact check him as he was talking, but that has been the big play of the media all week. And that what they want you to go into this debate tonight believing is that Donald Trump is a bigger liar than Hillary Clinton. And the proof of it is Donald Trump sometimes claims things in his rallies and his speeches that aren't true, and that's just nefarious. That you're just misleading the American public. Not like Hillary Clinton, who just out and out lies that she has no knowledge or didn't do anything wrong, or it's not her fault that something happened, and she'll just it wasn't my job. I didn't know that classified information on email might have a small c instead of the big stamp across the front of it that tells you it's confidential. I didn't know. I don't know. You wipe a server clean with a cloth, stuff like that. And so that's going to be the big thing, because that's the big damage for Hillary Clinton, is that she's pathological. She's a pathological, sociopathic, what's the word? She's a liar. It's a habit with her. It's just, she can't even tell the truth. Remember her pneumonia thing? Well, it was because she was dehydrated. But yeah, she tells interviews she drinks tons of water, and she exercises in yoga. Well, what kind of yoga does somebody do that can't step up into a van? I don't know what kind of yoga you can do it doesn't make any sense. So anyway, that's going to be one of the things we're going to see. But before we get into that, and then we'll have, I should mention, we'll have Bob Cardoso from Robert Cardoso Live on with us at the bottom of the hour and get his take on what he expects to see at the debate tonight. So our schedule today is we'll do the show here. We get off in 2 hours. We'll watch the debate, and then we'll be back on the air with Dan Butcher and some of our other fellow colleagues out there at High Plains Radio. And it'll be a full evening for us here. Anyway, I wanted to start the show today just briefly, talk about a couple things, because one of the things that is very apparent right now, and has been, we've known it for quite a while. We've talked about it on the show, but it's just becoming more and more apparent. Given Hillary Clinton's health condition is suspect, I'm not going to say she's as sick as some people say she is. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, she's got Parkinson's disease or anything else like that. But there's obviously some health issues with her. And whether they're major or minor, whether they're temporary or permanent, that's not the point. The point is she has some issues, and we know that because of the fact that, just 9/11 celebration on Sunday here a couple of weeks ago. What? She fainted. She was feeling overheated kind of thing. We know that she was then diagnosed with pneumonia. That's what her doctor said. She has ear infections. She's got arthritis. There's some things out there that, just contribute to age. I get that. That's why I'm not really sitting here, all up in arms. Oh, she's not healthy enough to be president and this and that. I don't know. I'm more worried about her mental capacity than I am about her physical abilities. Franklin Roosevelt was very physically incapable of doing very many things. And even though he was a diehard socialist, at least he was coherent, and he knew what he was doing, and he knew why he was doing it, and he was very good at what he did. Whether you like what he achieved or not, that's not the point. So anyway, one of the things, though, that Hillary Clinton has been doing is she's really kind of running a campaign. I use the phrase by proxy. She's running a campaign by proxy. And you know what a proxy, if you're a proxy voter per se, a proxy voter is somebody who says, I will assign my vote to somebody else. I'll let somebody else cast my vote for me. And what she's doing is she's letting other people really run her campaign and campaign for her. She's got Tim Kaine, who's out there for whatever, God knows what reason, moral support, I guess. He very seldom campaigns unless she's with him. So I'm certainly, and he's been on doing solo gigs lately. Because Hillary's out of the spotlight right now, because she's either, the story is she's preparing for a debate, and I assume that is true to some degree, but she's also recovering from the very health issues that she says she doesn't have. Okay, so, and Barack Obama is going to be doing, I think, more here as we get, closer to the end of this thing. Going to be kicking it into high gear, and he's going to be out there campaigning. He's already done some stuff. Her husband will probably be back on the campaign trail to some degree. He's been kind of out of the spotlight because of the Clinton Foundation issues, but, we're coming down to the wire here, and it's going to come to a point where these guys are all going to be launched out there to do their thing because Hillary Clinton just doesn't have the stamina to do it. I really think that's what it is. So, having said that, we need to kind of pay attention to some of the things that Barack Obama is involved in terms of the Hillary Clinton scandals. Now, he's been pretty much exempt from any real heat and any real examination. But when we get back from our break here, I'm gonna share with you something here that just came to light here. You know, little by little, these email hacks, whether they're from the DNC or through the White House or released through the State Department, wherever they're coming from, they're slowly painting a picture of what I believe is the one thing that we have to fear the most about Hillary Clinton, and that is everything the Clintons touch becomes corrupt. Everything they put their hands to, any involvement they have corrupted every single aspect of government, everywhere they go, much more than Obama. Obama uses corruption as a means to an end to fulfill his ideological desires. Hillary Clinton uses corruption for the very purpose corruption was created, for personal gain, wealth, and power. So we'll talk about that when we get back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
the Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. As I said, Joe is out in the field today. He'll be attending a Trump the debate watch party, and he's going to bring his equipment with him. So we may be able to get, he may call in during the show. He will not be calling in during the debate because the debate will not take place till after we're off the air, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe he can get some people to talk, some interviews or something like that. We'll see how that goes down. Anyway, as I mentioned just before the break here, Hillary Clinton, the Clinton campaign is pretty much trying as much as they can to keep Hillary Clinton out of the public eye and running her campaign. As I said earlier, the phrase I use is by proxy. That means assigning the responsibilities to somebody else. In this case, it would be Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Tim Kaine, Bill Clinton, anybody that's being sent out on the campaign trail to speak on Hillary Clinton's behalf. Because one of the things that we've noticed is that her poll numbers seem to remain fairly steady and sometimes even increase. Like if there's a gaffe out of the Trump camp, as we've heard so many times, and the media takes it, whether it's a real gaffe or whether they take something out of context and try to paint a picture, and Trump might take a hit for that. He might lose some points, and Hillary might pick up some points or whatever. But the point being is that when she's not really in the public eye, her poll numbers, if you rely on polls, if you believe in the credibility of polls, they remain steady. And but when she comes into the public eye, they take a hit. One of the reasons that Trump has seemed to gain so much on her lately was her poor performance at the Commander-in-Chief Forum with Matt Lauer. And Matt Lauer is the one that ended up taking the heat for it. It was like he was being blamed for her poor performance. And the reason being is because he was too tough on Hillary and he wasn't tough enough on Trump. That's the excuse. And that's going to be, as I said, that's been the narrative that's been pushed out for the last couple of weeks. And I can only, my gut check tells me it is a way of kind of, the way that liberals do things is you kind of leak what you want to do or what you might do to get the public perception before you actually go out and do it. Barack Obama has done that his whole administration. There's leaks coming out. Well, the president's going to do this. He's going to veto this, or he's going to issue an executive order for this, or he's, that kind of thing. And they wait to see what the public reaction is. If it's way, way over the top and it goes against what they really want to do, they might hold off, or they might repackage it and put it out a different way later on. Anyway, the Clinton campaign has been trying to run her campaign without Hillary Clinton actually being there. That's the point I'm getting to. And so when you look at people like the Barack Obamas and the Bill Clintons and all these other people out there trying to run the campaign trying to speak for her, the only person, I guess, that doesn't speak for Hillary Clinton is Robbie Mook, her campaign manager, because every time he's asked a tough question, it's like, well, you have to ask Hillary. She's the candidate. You'll have to ask her. You can't ask her if she's not around. Okay? So it's that endless cycle of liberal stalling and what they normally do. It's just if you got to keep the controversy in the loop, do so, but don't ever allow it to really get resolved, because when push comes to shove, you can always deny it, you can always spin it, you can always blame somebody else for it, that kind of thing. Well, getting back to Barack Obama here, who I am certainly sure, especially if Hillary bombs tonight in the debate, if there's any perception that she just isn't going to, take this thing, slam dunk it, and walk away, Barack Obama is going to be launched. He's going to be the guy actually out campaigning for Hillary Clinton. And the thought is going to be, I'm Barack Obama. I've done all this great work. You liberals all love me. Save my legacy by saving Hillary Clinton. He's already done that to some degree. Stood in front of the Congressional Black Caucus. If you want my legacy to last, if you want everything that we have accomplished to remain, then you need to vote for Hillary Clinton, that kind of thing. And I'll take it as a personal insult if black voters don't get out and vote for Hillary Clinton, that kind of stuff. So, but Barack Obama has his own little dirty laundry that nobody's talking about and probably will never talk about till he's either a couple of years out of the White House or maybe up running the UN, that kind of thing. And we're going to go back in time a little bit. This is back in March of 2015. This is when the bulk of the scandal with Hillary Clinton really started to hit as far as the private email server and everything else, okay? There was an article that was published by Nicole Jenkins and Michael Sorrentino at the New York Daily News, and I'm reading the article from Saturday, March 7th, 2015. President Obama discovered former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's use of personal email at the same time as newsreaders. Obama, after delivering a Saturday speech in Selma, Alabama, was asked when he found out about Clinton's personal email system run from her Chappaqua home. The same time everybody else learned it through the news reports, he told CBS News. Now remember, this is something Obama has done throughout his administration also, that all these things hit, scandals, events, everything else, and he finds out about it at the same time as everybody else does. I guess in between watching ESPN, he'll might surf through the news and learns of much of what's going on. And almost everything that's had to deal with Hillary Clinton has been something that he has learned through the media, not through the inner circles of the White House. Okay, Obama waded into the controversies for the first time since Clinton's use of a private email account was revealed last week. So this is the end of April 2015 when this really hit the fan, when the Kim G hit the fan, right? Raising questions about whether key messages were preserved. Clinton's use of the ClintonEmail.com address drew widespread criticism from Republicans. The revelation has come at a delicate time for Clinton, who was preparing to launch a second bid for the presidency in the coming weeks. All right, now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to play you the clip of the interview. This is just a clip from the CBS interview in which Barack Obama was asked about when did he find out, when did he have knowledge that Hillary Clinton was using a private email server, which, by the way, was against regulations, rules, and law. So here's that clip.
For the first time, the president talked about Hillary Clinton's use of a private email system when she was Secretary of State. Mr. President, when did you first learn that Hillary Clinton used an email system outside the U.S. government for official business while she was Secretary of State?
The same time everybody else learned it through news reports.
Were you disappointed?
Let me just say that Hillary Clinton is and has been an outstanding public servant. She was a great Secretary of State for me. The policy of my administration is to encourage transparency, and that's why my emails, the BlackBerry that I carry around, all those records are available and archived, and I'm glad that Hillary is instructed that those emails that had to do with official business need to be disclosed.
All right, so there it is. Barack Obama is saying he found out about Hillary Clinton's email use at the same time everybody else did, through news reports. As I said, he's done that in the past to kind of try to skirt or to delay or distract from the issue of any particular scandal or event in which people want to know, what did you know, when did you know it? That's really the gist of it. It's like what this guy's asking, what did you know and when did you know it? He said, well, I found out about it like everybody else through news reports. Now, it says here, I'm still reading from the article from Nicole Jenkins and Michael Sorrentino from the New York Daily News, dated March 7th, 2015. And again, the president said the fact that she's going to be putting them forward will allow us to make sure that people have the information they need. But you heard him mention in there about transparency. Oh, the policy of my administration is transparency. If there's ever been an administration, maybe perhaps since Richard Nixon, has there been a less transparent administration. But of course, that's the talking point. That's the narrative. He is the most transparent president ever, and yet he seems to have the most to hide. In this article also, I just want to mention here real quick, because I mentioned earlier about Bill Clinton, there is a mention of Former President Bill Clinton also had refused at that time, was refusing to address the issue, but was defending, because the email started leading into this implication or allegation, or at least the thought process of people as to, well, why did she need a private email server? And of course, that's when the Clinton Foundation kind of came to the surface. And Bill Clinton didn't want to talk about the use of a private email server as to what we now refer to as the pay for play kind of thing that the Clinton Foundation, using Hillary Clinton's position in the State Department for gain in, I guess the way, how do we want to say it here? Funneling money through the Clinton Foundation, laundering money through the Clinton Foundation. And Bill Clinton tried to justify that by saying, what I find is you've got to decide when you do this work whether it will do more good than harm when someone is helping from another country. So what Bill Clinton is telling us is he's kind of like, well, if we really did anything wrong, that he's presupposing here. If we really did anything wrong, if there was something happened that probably maybe would not look above board, well, it's because we weigh the good of the common man and the cause over what kind of damage might be the result of it. And that is really the argument of the Clinton Foundation from all their supporters and people are trying to defend Hillary Clinton's pay-for-play tenure at the tenure. That's the word, tenure. Boy, if I'm going to use intellectual words, I really should learn how to pronounce them. But anyway, during her time as Secretary of State. And the argument is, well, let's weigh the corruption against the good that was accomplished. The liberal mantra, the means justifies the ends. If we're doing good things for humanity, okay, if we were corrupt when we did it, if we did it under the table, if we did it out of the public eye, if we did it against the law, well, as long as it was contributing to the common good of humanity, what harm is there really in what we did? Doesn't the intent cancel out the crime? That's really how it is, The Robin Hood, remember, Bill Clinton calls himself Robin Hood, except he steals from the rich to give to the rich. But the point being is, as much as you might find Robin Hood a romantic figure, somebody who went out, the legend is, went out and stole from the rich and gave to the poor. And that's really he should be the poster child. Instead of the jackass as their emblem, they probably should have Robin Hood there. Yeah, we steal from the rich to give to the poor, only that doesn't really even happen. So, but the point being is that all this ties in together, the email scandal. Now, the reason I brought this up about Barack Obama here is because now we find out that Barack Obama used a pseudonym when he emailed Hillary Clinton while she was at the State Department. The State Department has refused to release the emails between Obama and Clinton, according to Politico. And, of course, they're claiming what? Executive privilege. Over the course of the investigation, the FBI investigation, the FBI conducted interviews with members of Clinton's staff and also former Secretary of State Colin Powell and former CIA Acting Director Mike Morrell, among others. Now, what we find out is that President Barack Obama used a fake name while communicating with Hillary Clinton while she used a private email server during her time as U.S. Secretary of State. The FBI released documents and that revealed such was the case. The documents offer some details about the agency's investigation and Clinton's use of private email, a matter that has continually plagued the Democratic presidential nominee's campaign. According to the documents, Huma Abedin, one of Clinton's aides, first noticed the former Secretary of State's exchange with an unrecognized sender on June 28, 2012, that was later revealed to be Obama. Once informed that sender's name is believed to be a pseudonym used by the president, Abedin exclaimed, "How is this not classified?" So Barack Obama apparently knew more than he claimed he knew when he said, I heard about it first on the news, just like everybody else. See? Lying is lying is lying. And the fact that the media is going to try to point to Trump as a liar of equal proportion, if not greater than Hillary Clinton, because he sometimes misstates facts, this is what it's going to all be about. This is from here on in. It's going to be You guys have to choose between the lesser of two liars. We'll be right back here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We got a lot more for you.
State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? But just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you, and they'll deliver deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net. Exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, who's out today out in the field. And right now what we're going to do, we're going to hook up with our good buddy Robert Cardosa live, who's simulcasting right now over in his network. He does the show the same time we do, every Monday through Friday. And on Mondays and Fridays, we hook up with each other.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing fantastic, fabulous, magnificent, unbelievably well.
Outstanding. Yeah, it seems like forever since we've talked.
You know what? It does seem that way. You know, John, the first thing I want to do is ask you how your lovely wife is doing.
I'm sorry?
I want to ask you how your lovely wife is doing.
Oh, she's doing much better. I mean, it's up and down. This diabetes and the kidney transplant and everything else, it's up and down. You know, she has good days and bad days, and fortunately, the good days are now outnumbering the bad days.
No, that's not unfortunate. The good days, that's fortunate that they're outnumbering the bad days, right?
Yeah. It's just when she has a bad day, it's a bad day. I mean, it's just the way it is. So as of right now, just feisty as ever.
Maybe I should send you a sympathy card.
I'm sorry?
Maybe I should send you a sympathy card.
Yeah, you're coming in really low, Bob.
Let's try this. Is this a little bit better?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. You know, I was saying maybe I should send you a sympathy card.
I'm still missing you.
That's okay. You know what? Maybe it's just the word is getting it. Don't worry about it.
Well, you know, I think in terms of Bushisms, if you use words with more than 3 syllables, I get lost.
Well, I only know 2 or 3 that are more than 3 syllables.
That's why I tell people that's why I'm a conservative. I'm not smart enough to be sly. So,
well, no, you're a conservative because you're basically honest. That's why you're a conservative. You know, and I'll let you read into that anything you'd like.
Yeah. So, looking at the debate tonight, I just a couple of thoughts that I have, but I wanted to get your take. What do you see happening?
Oh, you know what? This is going to be a historical debate when you think about it. Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump, and it's going to be one of pre-planning, and they're going to be like 2 boxers in the ring. I think one is just they're going to kind of test each other at the beginning, and they're going to spar a little bit and see who's going to break the ice and take the big swing first. And when the first person that takes the big swing is going to be the loser, because that justifies the second person for swinging back.
Yeah, what I've been looking at, just really kind of watching how the media, because to me this particular election cycle is probably more about the media than any previous election cycle that we've been involved in that I can remember. I mean, the media's always played a hand in it, but they are basically the way I've been looking at this whole thing is that Hillary Clinton has basically been running a campaign by proxy. And what I mean by that, she's really not in the limelight. She's not in the spotlight. Her poll numbers are always best when she's not talking. And so, you know, so the media is out there every day, you know, trying to punch out one narrative over another to see what will work that will stop this Trump phenomenon, whether, you know, you can call Trump whatever you want, but it is a phenomenon of what he's accomplished. And what I've seen here the last couple of weeks is the attempt to paint Donald Trump a liar at least equal to Hillary Clinton, if not greater.
Well, you know, I mean, I got to tell you what, if we don't have anything else, we legitimately have a real horse race going on right now. If you looked at the polls that were just out today, I mean, this is even Steven. When you're looking at 1 or 2 points separating people, that's an even race because there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of surprises, and I'd be surprised, very surprised, if Hillary Clinton is sleeping well at night.
Well, yeah, I like I said, I think she's running a campaign by proxy. She's got her campaign manager out there doing all of her TV interviews. She's got Barack Obama out there campaigning for her. She's got Bill Clinton out there campaigning for her. Tim Kaine has finally been allowed to go out by himself, and he's showing up at the talk show circuit. And so everybody's out there talking except Hillary. And and that tells me that they're worried about either her having some kind of episode, that exposes her health condition, or the fact that, when people like Hillary best when they don't have to listen to her. So
you know what I think is going to be, and you're absolutely right, but you know what I think is going to really happen? Donald Trump is going to be hoping and praying that Hillary brings up the fact that he spouts off facts before he actually finds out what's really factual and call him a liar, right? Because that opens the door for Donald Trump to just pounce on her.
Well, I was on a part of a panel last night out at High Plains Radio. There's 4 or 5 of us do talk radio, and I got asked to participate in this panel. One of the members on the panel was Josh Bernstein, and he has actually had contact with the Trump campaign, and he said the first thing Trump should do, the very first thing Trump should do, no matter what they ask him, is he should turn to Hillary Clinton and say, before I answer your question, I wanted to give Hillary Clinton the opportunity to apologize to all the Americans that she called deplorable.
You know what? He ought to do that.
And if he did that, it would be slam dunk. He would control the debate from that point on.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, so, Josh brought it up last night. He says, so if Donald Trump does that, you'll know he got it from me. Okay.
You know what? That would be a smart thing to do, but I'll bet you he doesn't do it.
Well, if you remember right, that is what turned a lot of the crowd towards him when Ted Cruz tried to make the comment about New York values.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely it did. And you know what? And the truth is, it's just, I keep wanting to call Donald Trump Teflon Don, nothing seems to hit him and stick to him. And that gives him a tremendous advantage because people see him as vulnerable, just like we are, right? Everybody is vulnerable. They don't see the Clintons as being vulnerable. They see the Clintons as being above the law.
Well, as we were talking in this panel last night, one of the questions I was asked was, what was it about this election cycle that I see, that stands out above everything else? And what I told him was, I said, this election cycle proved something, or it revealed, or it exposed, whichever term you want to use, that there are no such things as Democrats and Republicans anymore. That what we have is we have nationalists and globalists. And Donald Trump exposed that. And that is what this election cycle is about. It is the globalists. When you've got a Republican leadership, people that just a few months ago were running for the office of president, now endorsing the opponent, it exposes something. It reveals something that it's not about ideology. It's about self-preservation and personal gain. And that's what this election has exposed. The fact that Donald Trump is really part of that very same system. He is to some degree establishment, and he is to some degree a globalist. This guy has profited globally from things that he has done in terms of buying politicians. So one of the greatest things he said in the beginning of his campaign was, I pay a politician and they do what I want.
Exactly. And if you're a good businessman and you have the resources to do that, then you're a damn fool if you don't.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Donald Trump the problem is the very system that he is now bucking and has been a part of can't control him. And that's the threat. And in doing so, that is what has been exposed. We no longer have a government that gives a horse's patoot as to what the people who have elected them want. And so that has been the great revelation. And that is something that the Trump phenomenon, the reason he's Teflon Don is because he exposed that. So the voters out there, when you think about it, I was just at a convention last week, and they were talking about the fact that Barack Obama won in 2012 by 5 million popular votes. But he really only won by a combination of 385,000 votes over 4 swing states that got the Electoral College votes. Those other votes were irrelevant because he already took those states.
Yeah.
368,000 votes put Barack Obama in the White House because that was spread out over 4 states that got him the electoral votes that he needed to win.
Well, look at what's happening to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton today when we have all these swing states coming up, and all of a sudden Hillary Clinton was leading by 15 points in Colorado. Now it's even Steven. It's a horse race out there.
Well, I'm almost believing I'm actually suspecting that the media is trying to paint this as a horse race for the purpose, if Donald Trump falls on his face tonight in the debate and Hillary Clinton picks up any kind of gain, they're going to be able to go back to the narrative they've been trying to push, and that is it's all over. This is all Hillary's, and it's just a matter of waiting until November for the confirmation. I think this may be a strategy by the media to give the illusion that this race is close. But I happen to think that Donald Trump is way ahead, and it's just not being reported right because there are a lot of things in these polls that tell me that they're not even asking the millions of new people that are coming into the electorate voting for the first time or voting for the first time in several elections. These people are not being polled. And so,
I think you're absolutely right. I think that what is really scaring the Clinton camp right now is the fact that there are a lot of people who have not been voting in prior elections, whether they could have or not, do plan on voting in this one because they dramatically want to see some change in Washington.
Yeah, well, I think what we're on the verge of seeing here is just like in 2012, everybody thought Mitt Romney was going to romp, and he ended up losing big. I think we're going to see it the other way. My gut check is telling me Trump is going to win this, and he's going to win it big. It's not going to be a close election, as everybody seems to think. I think Donald Trump is going to take New York. I think he's going to swing that state.
I do too.
And so anyway, we got to go to a break on this side. And,
okay, we'll be right back with John Matthews.
And we'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them the potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The ConservativeSyndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we are back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, and we're going to get hooked right back up here with our good buddy Bob Cardoso over at Robert Cardoso Live, and we're going to continue our...
Hey, guys.
Yeah, we're back here. Joe's off today. Joe is at a debate watch party right now doing some field work for me. So,
yeah, okay, I can go with that.
Yeah, he may be calling in later on. He said he's going to take his equipment over there. Of course, the debate won't be coming on until about an hour after we get off the show. But he's going to see if he can hook up some interviews, because when he does this, he hangs out with the Republican operatives back there in Florida, so we get some good inside skinny sometimes on what's going down in terms of contests and stuff like that. So
will that be on your show tomorrow, or does he have to edit that over?
Oh yeah, he'll be back on tomorrow. He's just today. We just call it field work. He's going to go out in the field and see if he can drum up some opinions and some analysis from some of the people. Like I said, he works real close with the Republican Party out there, so he knows people that know some of the things that are going on. So,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But what I meant was, is he's going to interview them on his equipment. Is he actually going to be able? Will you be able to play that on your show tomorrow?
Yeah, he'll just he just brought his Mac with him. He can hook up on Skype and just call in, and we'll be cool. So,
that sounds like exciting.
Yeah. We're trying to get a little bit more involved out there in terms of actually contacting the public and stuff like that. One of the things we've been working on, we don't take calls on this show just because of the fact that, we're a small operation. I don't have anybody to screen them. Mm-hmm. I used to just open the line and let anybody call in, but you get a few obscene phone calls and you say, wait, we gotta stop that,
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to control it. And the truth is, it's difficult when you have call-ins. You can't really control what's going on, and sometimes stuff slips through before you've had a chance to edit it.
Yeah, there's a way of doing it, but it's just not technologically feasible right now, given the fact that we're a small operation. We're like you. We're basically a one-man show. I don't have somebody who can take the calls in, screen them, find out what they are, who they are, and then forward them to me through Skype, that kind of stuff. So we're working on it, but we're still not there yet. So. Anyway, getting back to the debate, I've been watching. There's a couple of things that I've been seeing out there. One, the press is trying to prepare us for the moderator to become more involved in the actual debate itself. That's been one of the things going on here.
But that's a problem. Here's the problem there. And you and I have talked about this before. I don't want the press involved. I don't want the moderator to take that kind of a position. I'm actually a little bit in agreement of what Donald Trump had said, and that is, there shouldn't be anybody else on the stage but him and Hillary, and they should just go at it.
I believe that there should be a moderator, but only for the purpose of procedure and time. Yeah. Somebody that they're supposed to be using the rule of order, Robert's rule of order, right? You say, okay, you got this much time to respond to something, or to make sure that one doesn't, override the other, or to make sure everything remains, you don't want to have people cross-talking and stuff like that, that kind of stuff. But I'm a firm believer that I believe what should happen is every one of the questions should come from an audience. That they should have, you bring in people, Hillary, you can bring in, 15 Democrats, and Trump, you can bring in 15 Republicans, and we'll pick names out of a hat, and these people will get to ask questions or something like that.
Yeah.
And then just let the candidates deal with it, and let them, answering something about foreign policy in 60 seconds is not, to me, fair to anybody. I don't care who it is.
You can't really talk about foreign policy or even domestic policy in 60 seconds. There's just no way possible.
Yeah.
And people keep making, just to make a point here, people keep berating Donald Trump because he will not give them the details of his plan for striking ISIS. You know what? He would be an idiot to do that. Who on earth would ever say, this is what I'm going to do to you in 3 months? And tell them in advance. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard of.
Yeah, well, I kind of look at it a little bit different. I agree. That's certainly a valid position. My position is I'm not president yet. I haven't gotten a book on how really screwed up it is. So, it's like this is what I ideally, based on what I know, this is what I would think this would be a viable strategy. But I don't really know what I'm walking into. I mean, how many other Iran deals has Barack Obama made with other countries that we don't know about yet?
Oh, yeah. You know what the perfect thing is? You know what? I thought that there were certain things that I wanted to do. And then all of a sudden, I got these classified updates that they were telling me about, and there were things that I didn't know anything about. Now, I understand that the updates I got are not even current. They're not even really good. So until I become president, I'm not even going to really know what the problem is.
Yeah, I've always adhered to Dennis Miller's analogy of it. He said, you get into office and they let you pinch the nipple of the Roswell dummy, and then they give you the book on how really screwed up it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at that point, you start making decisions about what it is you're going to do. Now, I understand that both of these guys are supposed to be getting some kind of intelligence briefings, but given this administration, just finding out the other day that this Iran deal that went down, the $400 million ransom, the Secretary of the Defense didn't even know about it. The Pentagon wasn't even notified about this stuff. This was all done between John Kerry and Barack Obama. The Defense Department didn't even know about it till after it was done.
What a way to run a company that way. Why on earth would you run a country that way?
Yeah, and that $400 million in unmarked bills was the completion of a payment that included $1.3 billion that had already gone down the pipe.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
hey, you know what I wanted to ask you too? How much of, here's the deal. You had already mentioned it, and it's absolutely true that Hillary Clinton has not been making an awful lot of public appearances. Bill Clinton has been doing it for her, and Kane's been doing it for her, and Obama's been doing it for her, and Michelle has been doing it for her, but she hasn't been doing it for herself. And the truth is, it's because she's not articulate enough to make those points and to grab people. And so she's got people there, and Obama's doing it, and Michelle Obama's doing it for one reason and one reason only. If she doesn't win the presidency, his legacy's gone.
Oh, exactly, and he's already done that. He was speaking to the Black Caucus here a couple weeks ago, and said that he would take it as a personal insult if black people did not vote for him. It just came out and said that. If you want to protect my legacy, if my legacy means anything to you, get up and vote. I'll take it as a personal insult if the black community does not get up and vote for Hillary Clinton. And those are his words. Okay?
Oh, yeah. And the other part of that, John, do you remember when Donald Trump was being castigated for saying to the Black Caucus, what have you got to lose? And the Hillary camp just turned it all around and just castigated him for that. But it was the truth. Hey, look at what you got now. If you know what, if you're not happy, you don't like the way things are going, you don't feel safe. What have you got to lose?
Well, again, one of the stories that's out there right now, the one, like I said, they're going to try to paint Trump as a liar, equal to on par with Hillary Clinton. He made a statement about 59% unemployment rate amongst black youths. And the source that he used to get that was not the standard source that everybody uses, which is Department of Labor statistics. So they're out there trying to say, well, he just made this number up. It's a falsehood. It's a lie. It wasn't. He just pulled it from a different organization. But that is how the media twists things. And it's not really 59%. It's only 27%. Now, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, it's only 27%. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? At some point, who cares? Isn't it bad enough?
Yeah, well, it's like, what do you got to lose? Anyway, hey, we're out of time on this side.
Us too. And
listen,
we got. I'm looking forward to talking to you on Friday about what you think the results of the debate were. So save some time for that. And give a plug for your show here.
All right, my friend. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, you take care.
Okay, guys, it's time for the Edwards Notebook, where you got to pay some bills, and we'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Certain people are so focused on toppling America that they will even try to convince the world that protecting our borders is now bigoted. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, the Islamic bloc at the United Nations has joined forces with the likes of President Obama, Mrs. Clinton, Harry Reid, and all American progressives who have labeled presidential candidate Donald Trump and right-wing politicians in Europe who want to protect the sovereignty of their respective nations as xenophobes and bigots. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation also condemned the media outlets who report on Islamic terrorism. The Islamists blame the reporting on terrorism rather than the terrorism itself for causing civilized people to not want to be around Muslims. I'm sorry, but the Quran instructs Muslims to kill, enslave, or brutally overtax non-Muslims. And talk about bigots. It's the Muslims who are taught from birth to hate Jews and that black people have no souls and are raisin heads. Let's not forget, it was Muslims who declared war on America and the West in 1979. So yes, America will soon protect our borders, and if progressives and Muslims don't like it, too bad. I'm Ron Edwards.
A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. The Conservative Syndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360.
Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by CitizensUnited.org.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right, hey, we're back. And once again, welcome back to the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And like I said, Joe's out today attending a Trump or a debate party. I keep saying, I keep wanting to say a Trump party. Maybe I'm just reading a little bit more into this than I really need to be at this point. But he is attending the debate watch party out there in Florida with some of the people that he works with within the Republican Party. So he may call in a little bit later. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, I had mentioned last hour here, if you were listening, while we were talking with our buddy Bob Cardosa over at Robert Cardosa Live, and I had mentioned in the course of our conversation the fact that Barack Obama has his own luggage, his own baggage, and he is going to be, I think he is going to be front and center from the debate tonight on, especially if Hillary Clinton tanks tonight. If she really tanks, if she has a bad showing, and, you know, God forbid, I really don't hope this, I'm not looking for this, but God forbid that she should have some kind of medical episode while she's out there. I mean, that really is just going to be big time, big time. And I imagine then the campaign would shift in, well, let's put Hillary in the White House anyway, because, 67% of the Democrats out there, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, don't seem to think that Hillary Clinton having any serious health issues would deter her ability to govern. It would not be a hindrance. And that's probably closer to the truth than we would really even want to admit, because even if she gets in the White House, this isn't the woman that's going to be pulling all the strings and making all the decisions. This is going to be an extension of Barack Obama's legacy, and I would imagine Bill Clinton is going to be the guy kind of behind the scenes. He's going to be the go-to guy, that kind of stuff. But is saying that, I had mentioned in the conversation in the first hour about the fact that Barack Obama came out and told the public that he learned about Hillary Clinton's email server situation the same time everybody else did, through the news. Now, I just think about that for a minute. An administration like Barack Obama's, where nothing gets through, doesn't get out, that doesn't go through Valerie Jarrett and that inner circle that basically runs and controls everything. So much so that even people in charge of the departments, like the Department of Defense, don't even know what's going on. All right? And we talked about the fact that Obama said, I learned about the same time everybody else did on the news. And we find out that Barack Obama had his own pseudonym for Hillary Clinton's private email server. Now, the press isn't going to say anything about that. And really, at this point, it's probably irrelevant. Obama is lame duck for all intents and purposes. He's going to continue to try to do what he does best, and that's see how much crap he can throw against the wall, see if anything sticks. But I had mentioned in passing in the conversation about Barack Obama's paying Iran the $400 million ransom, which, by the way, was the final payment, not an initial payment and not the only payment, but the final payment of which came to the tune of $1.3 billion prior to that $400 million, paid to the Iranians in unmarked foreign currency because they couldn't wire the money. That was their excuse. We couldn't wire the money, but we had problems with wire transfers. Yeah, you do have problems with wire transfers when you're wire transferring unmarked money in foreign currency from an American bank. Yeah, I could see that. I could see you having a problem there. But the point being is that they didn't want anything being traced back to the Obama administration. Mr. Transparency doing this under the table, out of the earshot of his own Defense Department. Secretary of Defense Ash Carter Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Joseph Dunford. The two guys, anything that dealing with foreign policy, national security, should have been included in the loop, and they were not. And they were asked about this September 24th, 2016, this year, just 2 days ago. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to read you an article here from Eli Lake. One might think President Obama would have asked his top military officials to weigh in on his administration's decision in January of this year to send $400 million in cash to Iran. After all, Iran is the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism. Wow, the media admits that. And terrorists prefer cash to wire payments because it's so difficult to track. And our administration is telling us what? No, it's because we had difficulty wiring it. Yeah, when you're trying to wire illegal money to an illegal account, you're going to have problems, especially in the tune of $400 million and plus $1.3 billion, all right? And its armed forces have both directly and indirectly threatened the U.S. military in the Middle East. But Obama and Secretary of State John Kerry did not consult Secretary of Defense Ash Carter or the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, General Joseph Dunford. The news came out in a hearing last Thursday, before the Senate Armed Services Committee. In response to a question from Senator Ted Cruz about the cash payment to Iran, Carter made it clear that he had been out of the loop. We weren't involved in this, Carter said, adding that it was part of the settlement of a decades-long legal dispute between Iran and U.S. over arms sales. So that's the narrative. We were just paying them back money that we owed them. I don't know all the details of it, and the chairman and I were not involved in that. It is a decision that was taken by the law enforcement, that would be Department of Justice, and diplomatic agencies, and I would refer you there. That would be Secretary of State. When Dunford was asked about the cash payments, he responded, I am not trying to be evasive, but I don't know the details of that arrangement, and it really was a political decision that was made to provide that money, and I don't think it's appropriate that I comment on that. There you go. Mr. Transparency, the guy that sat here and said, I'm glad I found out about Hillary Clinton's email servers the same time you did, and I'm glad she's being transparent about it because that's been the policy of my administration. But he handed over $1.3 billion plus $400 million in unmarked currency to Iranian officials because they couldn't wire transfer it because it was illegal money going into sponsors of state terrorism. There's your transparency. Excuse me. There is your Hillary Clinton Obama term 3.0 if she gets elected. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. A healthy attitude toward politics will always be relentlessly cynical. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, doing our part to keep America healthy.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference. Don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Don't get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back. And you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And hey, I want to get back into this. One of the other topics that we were talking about in the first hour with Bob Cardoso over at Robert Cardoso Live is my perception, as I'm sure others out there are also seeing the same thing, as to how the media is basically trying to prep the public as to what is going to come down during this debate and post-debate, especially post-debate. One of the things that we're seeing more and more of, and I don't know, I'm not so sure that it's a bad thing, but we're seeing more and more of it, is the fact checkers, okay? These candidates in the primaries on both sides, you get up and they make statements about something, and then, you got the talking heads out there who have their respective examiners or investigators that go out and try to tell us whether what the candidate said was true or not. Now, I'm not against that. Obviously, that is part of the vetting process, is not only does a candidate know what they're talking about, but are they telling you the truth about what they're talking about? And it is more so a strategy and tactic right now, given the fact that the biggest baggage that Hillary Clinton has right now, the biggest problem she has right now, she's out there asking why she's not winning by 50%. Well, it's because she has a credibility problem. And that credibility is not necessarily her experience as Secretary of State and First Lady and Senator, although in all three of those positions, she was a dismal failure. But the fact that she was there, in the public eye and in the paradigm and the narrative of the media, if you hang your hat in the office every day, that means you know what you're doing. Okay? Not necessarily true. Now, the point I'm getting at here is how the media is trying to take anything that Donald Trump says and put it on par with anything that Hillary Clinton has said or is still saying that is not truthful. We know that Hillary Clinton lied about her email situation. We know that she has lied about her classified information or handling the classified information. We know that she has lied about things that she has done in office as attorney before she was in office, things that she has done, the going over to Somalia, right? Remember that? The running undercover, sniper fire, that kind of stuff turned out to be a lie. Even so much so that the lies about her fainting at the 9/11. Oh, she was dehydrated. She has a problem. She doesn't drink water. And yet we have recorded interviews where she says she drinks tons of water. She can't even tell the truth about what she's doing with her diet, for crying out loud. So the damage is what? Okay, we can't disprove this. There's enough of it out there. And the history of the Clintons is long enough to know that these people are chronic liars. It's either pathological or it's just plain old greed. But they've lied so much for so long that when the truth stares them in the face, they have to lie about that. Even if it was to their advantage, they would lie about it. Okay? It's just because that's how they are. What would have been wrong with Hillary Clinton just coming out and saying, you know what, I can't do campaign events because I have pneumonia right now, if that's truly what she has. Okay? Everybody would have understood that. Yeah. We all understand. I've been around some of these people when they campaign just at local level, and I know the schedule that they keep and the amount of time that they spend and effort that they put into it. It would wear any normal person down. If I have any admiration for people that seek political office, it's the level of energy that you have to maintain to be at all effective in getting elected. It is, like I said, I've seen it at just very primitive levels of just, being with somebody that's running for office or something like that, and being with them at a campaign event and just watching them during that particular event. And then saying, and while they're getting ready to go up and speak, they're taking phone calls and they've got people talking to them about, what are you going to be doing tomorrow? We got to confirm this. And, so yeah, I get that. But the Clintons don't, I guess their paranoia is on par with Richard Nixon when it comes to wanting anybody to know what's going on in their lives for fear that it's going to be used against them. And when you're deceiving everybody every day with everything that you do, I guess that would be the common cause and effect. And it certainly would help, would I think, play on somebody's health condition when you've got the stress level of trying to remember what lie you told yesterday as you're being asked about it today. I imagine that, I imagine that's very stressful. Anyway, the object of the game here, and something that I just noticed in the media here, is going to be trying to prove that Trump is a liar on par with Hillary Clinton. And the only way they can do that, the only way they're going to be able to do it, is to take the smallest of things and try to make it into the biggest of things. Example, on Morning Joe, the Mr. Everybody calls this guy a Republican. There's no way in the world Joe Scarborough even remotely fits the definition of Republican. But because he held office before as a Republican, everybody assumes that. Okay? That is just the thing. And I say that because this is going to play into my point, the point that I'm making here, about what the media is going to try to do and is doing and has been doing and will continue to try to do between now and November regarding Donald Trump's statements about things. A panel on MSNBC's Morning Joe grilled Donald Trump's campaign manager on Monday over the Republican presidential nominee's false claim. There's the buzzword. False claim that the moderator in the first debate was a Democrat. Mark Halperin of Bloomberg Politics repeatedly asked campaign manager Kellyanne Conway to answer why Trump tried to undercut NBC anchor Lester Holt's credibility in suggesting Holt would not be a fair moderator in the first debate scheduled for Monday night at Hofstra University in New York. He said, meaning Donald Trump, said Lester Holt is a Democrat. Lester Holt is a Republican. How could he say such a thing that just black and white was factually incorrect? Halperin asked. Conway said she believed Holt was a great choice to moderate Monday night's debate, adding that Trump was not aware of the NBC anchor's political affiliation when he labeled Holt a partisan Democrat. I don't know that he knew what Lester Holt's voter registration was. Well, Halperin continues, and Conway continued to brush it off. Some media outlets, she says, were promoting Hillary Clinton's campaign talking points and pressuring moderators to do increased fact-checking during debates. This is the charge that was leveled against Matt Lair. Why was he not fact-checking Donald Trump during the Commander-in-Chief Forum? Because if he had, he would have been able to catch Donald Trump in lies. And they're not lies, they were misstatements. But because Donald Trump says them, they're lies. If Barack Obama says something that's politically inaccurate, it's a miscalculated statement, or he misspoke. But Donald Trump says something of a similar thing, and it's a lie. It's a lie, and that's the buzzword. Donald Trump is a liar because he lies about the facts. That's what they're going to be saying here. That's what they're going to try to paint, and that's what they want. And what's her name? Kellyanne Conway, Trump's campaign manager, is basically saying is, you guys are going to do everything in your power to try to throw Trump off by fact-checking what he's saying while he's saying it and being able to come back and counter it on the debate stage in front of everybody and try to throw a wrench into his works and paint this guy as somebody who lies and therefore is not fit for the office of the presidency. It goes on because Brzezinski, Mika Brzezinski, who is the Democrat on the Republican panel of Joe Scarborough and Misa Brzezinski, she jumps in and she says, we're asking why he lied about Lester Holt. Conway responds, he didn't lie. A lie would mean that he knew what the man's party registration was. She comes back and says, what? As president, would he say things he knows are false without knowing they're true? See, that's going to be the argument. Donald Trump is inept. He's not qualified. He doesn't have the temperament. He doesn't have the knowledge. He doesn't have the ability to be president. And now he's going to lie to the American people. When did that become a disqualifier? Think about that. When did lying to the American people, saying something that he knows is false, why would that be a big issue? Oh, in Benghazi was over a video. It was over a video about Muhammad. Everybody knew that was a lie. Well, that was what we had at the time. No, it wasn't. That was the information your buddy over there, Ben Rhodes, dug out of the closet to use to do what? To spin this thing. Instead of, to hide the gun running that was going on out of the Libyan embassy into the hands of Syrian dissenters. That's what this is about. It was the Iran and Contra scandal all over again. And our president stood out there and said, he lied to the American people. He knew that was false. How about Obamacare? You can keep your plan if you want to. You can keep your doctor if you want to. Every family will save $2,500 a year with Obamacare. Do you think Barack Obama did not know that he was lying, willfully and knowingly lying? Hillary Clinton tells us, I didn't send any classified information over unsecured servers. We know that to be a lie. The FBI said it was a lie. We found that she did do it. And not only did she do it, her people did it. It was an actual atmosphere. It was an attitude. It was policy because it wasn't that big of a deal in their eyes and ears. We know that they lied. And so Donald Trump makes a misstatement about Lester Holt's political affiliation. I would make the same mistake. I had no trouble believing that because what Republican moderator out there, and they all sound like Democrats. Even Chris Wallace, who's supposed to moderate this guy, I don't think he's an affiliated Republican. I think he's an independent. But the point being is, none of them are Republicans. None of the Republicans are Republicans. We've got Republican leaders, as I said earlier, who only months ago were going for the nomination for the Republican Party, now endorsing and supporting Hillary Clinton openly, and you're going to tell me that they're still a Republican just because they're registered as one? If this election cycle has proven anything, it's proven that you can no longer trust what a person tells you they are when it comes to party affiliation. And that's whether you're in the electorate or you're running for office. Somebody's out there telling me they're a Republican. I've been a Republican my whole life, but I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton this time because Donald Trump is just off the wall. He's a bigot. He's a hater. He's xenophobic. He's homophobic. I've never heard Donald Trump say anything bad about homosexuals. By the way, the guy that at one time owned the Miss America pageant, the biggest event in the homosexual community, give me a break. But that's the strategy. That's the tactic. That's what I'm talking about here. Is that they're going to try to paint Donald Trump as a liar on par with Hillary Clinton. And it doesn't matter whether what Donald Trump, the lies that he's out there supposedly spewing out of his mouth are misstatements or gaffes, maybe misinformation in terms of what he actually believes, his sources for that information or whatever. But he's still going to be painted a liar because that's the only way we get back into the lesser of two evils contest, which is what the establishment wants. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
State Talk Radio, WRS
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392. 800-709-4392.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907.
If you've got joint pain, let me ask you a question. Would you like a high-quality knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Now, just in case your reception isn't great, let me ask you again. Would you like a pain-relieving knee, back, shoulder, or ankle brace at little or no cost? Well, if you have Medicare insurance, you could qualify for these pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And these are high-quality braces. They are very comfortable, and they've helped thousands relieve their pain. Now, I'd like you to imagine going on vacation, playing with your grandkids, just living your life again without pain. The Mobility Hotline is a referral service that connects folks with Medicare coverage and other insurance to accredited companies offering pain-relieving braces at little or no cost. And don't you worry about the Medicare paperwork. They'll handle it all for you. And they'll deliver your braces for free. Call the Mobility Hotline now. The call's free. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150. 1-800-557-6150.
Get your panties all in a bunch.
The Conservative Syndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And hey, let's get into the other part of this. There's several things that I had mentioned during the first hour, and I'm just going more into detail about them this hour in reference to the debate that's going to take place here in about, about an hour and a half from now. And this will be, 6 o'clock out here, I believe, on the East Coast, 9 o'clock on the, 6 o'clock out here in the West Coast, 9 o'clock, I think, out on the East Coast. Now, one of the things I'd also mentioned in the first hour when we were talking with Bob Cardoso over at Robert Cardoso Live is the polls. And the polls, I find it conveniently curious. In the words of Sheldon Cooper on The Big Bang Theory, curiouser. It's curiouser and curiouser that here we are, the day of the debate, all of a sudden, all the polls show everything even. Now, we saw last week some polls had Trump up by anywhere from 4 to 6 points. Some polls had Hillary Clinton up by the same measure. Some of them had them even. But all of a sudden, everything is almost dead even. 1 point here or there, within the margin of error, all that kind of stuff. And we've been talking about the credibility of polls in this election cycle much more than those in the past. Why? Because the media has tried two different tactics during this particular election cycle. And one was, we mentioned it, I think we did a segment on the show here about it, about research they did back in 2008. And during the McCain-Obama run, the general election, and they found that the papers got more response. The internet was more active when the race was close. So they tried as much as possible to paint everything as being close. There was no one running away with the election. The same thing in 2012. It was supposed to be a close election. Of course, Barack Obama, ran away with it. Okay, and he did the same thing with McCain. All right. This time around, they tried the same. What they tried is the opposite tactic. Because of the damage and the lack of credibility of Hillary Clinton, they tried a different tactic. They tried to say this thing was over before the primaries were even completed. And so what we saw was polls coming out with Hillary had anywhere from a 12 to 20-point lead over Donald Trump or any of the other Republican candidates for that matter. In head-to-head, we're always hearing head-to-head. Hillary Clinton head-to-head with Trump, head with Cruz, head with Marco Rubio, head with Jeb Bush. Depending on who was trending at the time. And the narrative was what? Hillary Clinton is her election to lose. I mentioned earlier, that was one of the questions I was asked on a panel last night on High Plains Radio. Was there ever a point where it was Hillary Clinton's election to lose? I never believed it was Hillary Clinton's election to lose. I thought it was Jeb Bush's election to lose, and he lost it, okay? But this whole idea here, now that we're here at the day of the debate, a debate, by the way, that most people agree, myself included, that is going to be key to what happens in the next 35 days or so, however many days we've got left here before we go November 8th. I don't know, count it down. It's 30 to 40 days here before we have the election in November. And all of a sudden, everybody's dead even. Well, maybe we go back now to that claim back in the 2008 study that shows that the media profits when the elections are close. The media is the one that gains acknowledgement and gains credibility and gains advertising dollars. There's supposed to be they're estimating 100 million people listening to the debate tonight. You want to guess what the advertising costs are? Oh, wait a minute. They're not advertising tonight. I think the debate's supposed to be nonstop. But the point being is, what kind of clout does that carry to advertisers in the future? The point I'm really trying to get at here is that the polls are being used as marketing devices rather than a gauge of who's going to win and lose. Just a few weeks ago, Hillary Clinton was just stomping Donald Trump in 7 or 8 swing states. This was slam dunk, over and done with. Today, Hillary Clinton is facing scrutiny to the degree that she has not faced or had to deal with before because of not only her scandals, but the revelations now are coming out from the various hacks of the DN server and the White House and release of things by the State Department and the FBI investigation. All these things have painted her in a bad light. And that's why she's not actually out there campaigning. That's why all the good people, the people with charisma, Hillary Clinton has the charisma of a soggy bag of laundry. And so they've got everybody else out there trying to do it, as I said earlier, by proxy. Trying to do it. We all love Hillary and you all love us, therefore you should all love Hillary. That's the way this is coming down the pipe. But the polls, where the media was out there just, there's the polls. Yeah, Hillary's got this. It's slam dunk. Trump is just this racist, bigoted, and he doesn't really represent real America. It's not who we are. Values, the new values. That's how they're referring to the Democrat Party now. The new values. The new values is what? Pandering to demographics for the purpose of gaining votes and not doing anything with those demographics. Does that sound familiar? Sounds like the Republican Party to me. And they're employing the same tactic, but to a much greater degree of effectiveness. Well, sure enough, so now the media is out there trying to downplay the polls. Okay, now they're the ones out there telling us that the polls don't mean anything. Where do I go to find this? Well, where else? One of my favorite liberal mags, the Daily Beast. Rob Shepardson, September 22nd, last week. He says, "Don't panic. Why, Hillary Clinton is going to win. My friends are scared to death by the closing of the gap between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump and by the talk that young people won't vote because of the so-called enthusiasm gap. If you're scared too, take heart. Here's why Hillary will win." Let me just talk about that enthusiasm gap for just a couple of minutes here. I watched an interview yesterday between Gary Johnson and George Stephanopoulos on This Week. And you could tell that the way Stephanopoulos was wording his questions to Gary Johnson, he was trying not to really get Gary Johnson to explain his views and why he believed what he believed. He was trying to sway any millennial that was watching the show that a vote for Gary Johnson was a wasted vote. And the way he was wording the questions, Gary Johnson, you could tell. And he asked him about it in such a fashion. He said, people are saying that if they vote for Gary Johnson, it's really a vote for Donald Trump. Why Donald Trump? Because he was talking about the millennials. Gary Johnson leads among all candidates for the millennial vote. The millennial vote. The Bernie Sanders followers. Okay, those who will not vote for Hillary Clinton no matter what and don't particularly care for Donald Trump. And so they're looking for what? They're looking for that libertarian because the libertarian ideology wants to legalize pot, wants to open the borders, wants to get out of the foreign policy business. It's fitting for a millennial that believes that Government is the enemy of all of us. We all believe government is the enemy of all of us, but it's all how you paint that perspective. Okay, excuse me. Conservative government is the enemy of all of us. Generous government, benevolent government, government that will give you free education, let you smoke all the pot you want, and marry whoever you want. Yeah, that's the kind of government we want. That's really the kind of government libertarians espouse. They really want anarchy, legalized, legislated, non-legislated anarchy. Everything free for all, whatever you want to do, you should be able to do. Okay, that's really what it is. That really is libertarianism. They can paint it. They can try to shade it with their views on fiscal conservatism, but their fiscal conservatism is tied to their lack of desire to get involved in anything in the global theater, which I'm not totally against myself. There's a lot of things. We should not be involved in the Middle East. Well, we have to be now, but we should never have been involved with that section of the world to the degree that we were. The only reason we were is why? Because the globalists in the Republican Party wanted it. George Bush wanted it, whether it was to get even with Saddam Hussein over threatening to assassinate his father, or whether it was over oil in Kuwait, whatever it was. So, anyway, the baiting by George Stephanopoulos was try to get Gary Johnson to at least concede to some degree that voting for him was voting for Trump rather than Hillary Clinton, because they just assumed all these millennials would jump over to Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry. Bernie Sanders did to the Democrat Party what Donald Trump has done to the Republican Party, exposed them for what they are. The Democrat Party are democratic socialists, probably hardcore socialists, just use that word democratic to keep it kind of American sounding within their little, their group, their base. And Trump exposed the Republicans for what they are. Manipulators and exploiters of the industrial military complex for profit. We'll be right back. We got to go to a break. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. There is an old saying, children should be seen but not heard. At no time is this more apparent than when politicians speak. TheConservativeSyndicate.net, the adults in the room. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. History affirms a vibrant civil society thrives on freedom of conscience, religion, and choice. Any society absent these qualities stifles individual responsibility and accountability, thus enslaving its people by denying them their potential for goodness, creativity, and altruism. To that extent, oppression, coercion, and totalitarianism are multiplied exponentially. To counter such outcomes, the American Freedom Alliance was formed. The AFA is a nonpartisan, non-aligned movement which promotes, defends, and upholds Western values and ideals. The Alliance strives to build an international coalition of citizens of the West who together promote and protect moral values, democracy, and freedom. To find out more and become part of this valuable asset in the preservation of freedom and all its rewards, contact us at AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. That's AmericanFreedomAlliance.org. Let freedom ring.
Get your panties all in a bunch.
TheConservativeSyndicate.net, exposing weapons of mass distraction. All right, hey, we're back. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And hey, quick reminder here, you might want to check out our website, TheConservativeSyndicate.net. For this show, any of the shows that we have, anything that we do, want to find out anything about our panel, why we do what we do, visit our website, TheConservativeSyndicate.net, and you'll find it all there. Getting back to this conversation here about polls, one of the other elements that's being played by the media being played in whichever way they need it to be played. As it is right now, trying to call the election even. And in doing so, what it will allow is, if Hillary Clinton bombs tonight, they'll be able to use it to kind of say, well, it's even right now. It's still even. Yeah, Hillary Clinton, what is she going to do to rectify the situation? And that'll be the argument. Okay, if she blows it, however she blows it, if she blows it, it'll all be about, now she's up against the wall. What is she going to do? And I wouldn't be surprised to see the polls try to skew back to the fact that, she's at least maintaining even. She's staying even with Trump. Maybe, some of the polls will put her a couple points up or a couple points down. They'll try to make it look like, she didn't really lose that bad, that kind of stuff. Hoping that somewhere down the line here, either a crisis comes up that would favor the Democrats, maybe another recession, something like that, or Donald Trump just makes the ultimate goof, just completely blows it. We find out that he's really beer buddies with David Duke of the KKK, something like that, and just completely destroys him that, because I can guarantee you they're in there digging dirt up somewhere. They're trying to dig up dirt wherever they can find it. I'm surprised at this point that Trump is really as clean as he is in terms of some of the things that you would think somebody with that much money, clout, and everything else might be involved in. That kind of thing. The guy's been married for 3 times. Who knows? Anyway. But getting back to the polls here, because this is one of the elements that the media is trying to play. We were talking about the fact that they're trying to paint Donald Trump as a liar on par with Hillary Clinton. They'll try to downplay, or they'll try to play up his lack of knowledge and experience or his temperament as being presidential and all this. I don't know anything. Well, I'm not going to get into that. I'm digressing here. I've only got a few minutes left here, and I want to get to this point here. So the Daily Beast, one of the liberal mags out there, or liberal rags, I guess is the better term, and I read his first paragraph that this guy, Rob Jefferson, his friends are scared to death at the closing gap between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, which now, apparently, according to the media, there is no gap anymore. It's almost dead even. And he goes on to tell us why Hillary Clinton will win. And he says his very first point is exactly the one that we've been talking about here, but the media never admits, unless they have to, at a point in time like this. National polls are largely irrelevant. And yet it's been, when Hillary Clinton's national polls were out there, and she was anywhere from 6 to 12 to 15 points ahead of Trump, boy, that was on the media every night. Every night, CNN, MSNBC, they were all talking about it, even Fox News. Oh, what's Trump going to do? How is Trump going to close this gap? That kind of thing. Here's the one that we've been talking about the most. Traditional polls are inaccurate. That's the second point this man makes, Rob Jefferson. At the end of the 2012 Obama campaign, we were not using traditional polling for assessing the state of the race. Why? Because the methodology is less reliable than ever, given the wide usage of cell phones and the public's annoyance toward answering a 20-minute survey. But even more important, traditional polling doesn't get to what really matters in the last 8 weeks of a campaign. We've been saying that on this show forever. Excuse me. The polls don't matter in this particular election cycle because the data is outdated that they're using. And what I mean by that, the sources that they're polling are outdated. We've talked about the fact that you've got half, in some cases, a third of the people being polled. Now, maybe that's due to the fact here, as this gentleman points out, that nobody wants to take the time to answer a 20-minute survey. Instead of having 1,500, 2,000 people of likely voters, we're getting 400 people of likely voters. If we get up into the higher numbers, 1,500, 2,000, which I haven't seen a poll like that in quite a while, it's more like adults or even registered voters. Registered voters does not equate into a likely voter. A likely voter is somebody who they have some kind of knowledge or foundation of having voted recently. And so they say, okay, based on likely voters, 450 likely voters through cell phones and internet that kind of thing. The internet is like it's like dancing with the stars. Vote as many times as you want. And so we were talking about that, about the irrelevancy, because they're not polling people who have just registered for Democrat or just registered Republican to vote for Donald Trump, or registered for the first time Democrat to vote for Bernie Sanders, or Democrats that have converted over to Republicanism because of Donald Trump, or vice versa for that matter. So that data is irrelevant. All of a sudden, that's what the media wants us to believe. The polls don't really matter. Now, in number 3 in his list here is what matters most is targeting. Obama's campaign and Hillary Clinton's campaign has the advantage because they know their voters. They know their voters. They know their voters. They know how to target groups. Yeah, they'll pander to the homosexuals, pander to the Muslims, pander to the blacks, pander to the Hispanics, pander to anybody that needs pandering, and say, we'll give you whatever you want. Just vote for us, and don't worry about those Republicans who are bigots, hated, xenophobes, homophobes. They won't do anything for you because they're all about cutting taxes for the rich. That's it, at the expense of the poor. Here's the other one. This is the one that really gets me. It gets me in a very funny way. Number 4 in his list, Hillary's campaign knows those voters person by person. Excuse me. Obama's campaign in 2008 and 2012 invented and perfected the use of big data for just this purpose. It combined the extremely sophisticated tracking of voters' behavior with the most effective tactic of persuading and mobilizing voters ever invented, person-to-person contact. Those of you who get emails from the Barack Obama campaign, the Hillary Clinton campaign, and any other campaign out there, you know what I'm talking about. This is what I find to be a joke. I have been just saturated with emails from the Barack Obama campaign, Organizing for America, the Hillary Clinton campaign, the Barack Obama campaign, any of the Democrats' campaigns, all their people on their campaign force. I get emails from them all the time, HillaryClinton.com, that kind of stuff, thanking me for helping Barack Obama advance his agenda and asking me if they can count on me for money and votes. I've never voted for Barack Obama. I never would. I've never voted for any Democrat. Never would. And I'm getting love mail from them all the time, telling me how much they appreciate me being a Democrat. It's data. What they should be saying is data saturation. You get your name on a mailing list for some reason. How I ever got on their mailing list, I never know. It doesn't really matter. I accept their emails because it tells me what they're doing. It gives me information firsthand. But this idea is just like everything else. Just because they have a massive number of emails doesn't mean those emails belong to people that necessarily support them. And that's very misleading in terms of how they're presenting. His argument here is that what? They track what you're doing. They look at what you're doing. You want to know why Barack Obama wants control of the internet and wants to give it to the UN? Because when he's made the secretary of the UN, he will have access to global data banks and be able to shape and present his message of globalization, of collectivism on a global scale, of a new world order through organizing for the UN instead of organizing for America, as it is now. They'll just change the name of it, and it'll be, let's organize the world. That's what that's all about. So there you go. So, completely irrelevant argument by a completely irrelevant source, the Daily Beast, as to how, but truthful in the terms of understanding the polls mean nothing. A week from Election Day, we're going to have a real good idea how this is going to go down, and I bet you even then we won't know until Election Day. And I really suspect that a lot of people are going to be fooled, and they're going to have the same conversation they had after 2012, when Mitt Romney just got schlonged, if I can use a Trump term, and everybody head went, what? How did that happen? The numbers didn't indicate that. Our polls didn't indicate that. Our surveys didn't. Our research didn't indicate that. None of that means nothing this time around because it's a completely different dynamic that's running it. It's called populism. We'll be back tomorrow. The debate tonight, watch it so you'll know what we're talking about tomorrow. God love you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.